Italy has qualified for the Nations League semifinals. Second year in a row. Qualified for the Nations League semifinals. This is what everybody wanted. Nobody wanted the World Cup, right? I mean, World Cup, you're playing against some random teams, some random countries. Nations League, you're playing against the Belgians, you're playing against the Spains, you're playing against the Germanys. It's the top competition, right? Calcio Guys, Adreano, Nicholas Giovanni. We don't have Gianni today, but it is the two of us following Italy's win against Hungary today. Adrian, how's it going?
It's going good, man. It's been a busy international break. 2 games, 3 for us if we're counting Canada. They play their second game tomorrow. But on the Italy talk, it's unfortunately it's a positive time at the wrong time. So we're happy, but we're pissed, and we're here to break it all down on the YouTube tonight. And can't wait to get started.
Just give me a sec. We're doing this live, so I'm just posting this on Twitter. So I'm just putting it out there, posting this on Twitter right now.
We're new to this, guys. It's not we haven't done many lives, unfortunately, on YouTube, but bear with us, please.
I think the last time we did a live based on what was written in our the banners, I think it was 20 episodes ago when Italy actually missed the World Cup. So this is back in March or September. So what, 6 months ago? I think it was almost like 6 months ago to the day. I think it was like March 24th or something like that. Yeah. So that was last time we did a live when Italy missed out on the World Cup. I don't. Is that the time you guys came over? Did you guys come over? We did a live in my house. Was it? I forget. My memory's a bit short. Maybe it was that one. When Johnny came, I didn't know he was coming, and then my siblings
shows
like,
up.
"Oh, Johnny's here." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay."
Let's get the show on the road.
Yeah. But it's actually episode 160 for us today, and also yesterday was 4 years that we started the podcast, started a radio show at CJLO. So just want to give a quick shout out to CJLO for giving us that start. Happy 4 years to Adreano and also to Johnny. It's pretty crazy. 160 episodes in 4 years. That's 40 episodes per year. Pretty much almost doing one per week. Pretty much 12 weeks off per year. We did a lot last year during the Euros. We had a lot of fun doing that. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do the same during the World Cup. Maybe we will for Canada. We'll see. Maybe. We'll switch it into the soccer guys for about a month or so in November. But Adri, I mean, I know you've enjoyed it. Do you have any favorite memories from doing the show?
Listen, there's been so many. I think just to say that we've been, somewhat consistent. I think since we've started, I think it's been the biggest thing. I mean, obviously last summer was, the first tournament for Italy in a positive way that we got to share together. That we got. A lot of following, a lot of interactions, a lot of just togetherness with the Italian community. If it be here in Canada, if it be in the States, if it be abroad elsewhere as well. So, listen, I think it's been a hell of a ride. Like you said, it had to start somewhere, and we're forever grateful for the opportunity that we received 4 years ago. CJLO, local university. Concordia University here in Montreal gave us that shot, and we've kind of rolled with it ever since. So, it's been a big credit to everybody that's even listened, liked, shared, commented, whatever it was throughout these years that kept us going and kept us supporting over this time. So, again, it's a big thank you to everybody out there. If it's like something small, something big, if you're following a long time, you listen to every episode, you don't. Listen, guys, we appreciate it all. We love everybody, and it's been a hell of a ride. I can't believe it's been 4 years to say. I mean, 2 years in the pandemic doesn't help, I guess, but with the ups and downs, I think it's been cool that we've been able to. We've always said it, right, Nick? The camaraderie of connecting with all kinds of different people from different walks of life, different parts of the world. It keeps us going day in and day out. So, and it's for the love of culture, right? So we wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? We got pretty lucky with Italy winning the Euros last year. Where we got to like experience that Got to celebrate it. We got to do an episode, the three of us. A lot of singing, a lot of drinking that episode, and it's crazy because then what? 7 months later, 8 months later, whatever it was the complete opposite. So we've really seen the ups and downs of the Italian national team. So we've done 4 Serie A seasons. We saw 3 different winners. We saw Juve win twice, and then Inter and then Milan. So
Yeah.
a lot has changed, right? In the
Yeah.
past 4 years. Like, think about it. When we started the podcast, the show, the 2018 World Cup just finished, and we're about to start the 2022 World Cup in what, less than 2 months time from now. So that'll be exciting, regardless if Italy's there. I know there's a lot of controversies around the World Cup and this and that, but you know what? We're gonna watch Canada. Maybe we'll talk about Canada. They played Qatar. They're gonna play Uruguay tomorrow in a friendly, which I'm excited about because this is the first time Canada is gonna play like real competition. Obviously, USA, Mexico, Honduras, they're good teams. They're really good teams. When you go play in the qualifying, especially on the road against them, that's a tough matchup. But to play Uruguay, I know it's not going to be in Uruguay or anything, not a hostile environment. I think it's in Bratislava. I think it's in Slovakia. Okay. But you know, Uruguay, they're a good team, and so that's going to be exciting. And yeah. So, but Italy today. Actually, we'll start with the game on Friday. Italy versus England at the San Siro. Usually Italy doesn't have that much luck at the San Siro. They've really struggled there in the past couple of years. Obviously lost to Sweden. I remember I think they tied Portugal in like 2018 there. They lost to Spain in the Nations League semifinals last year, but different outcome this time. I don't know if you saw the game, AG, but for most of the game, it was pretty awful to watch, honestly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I couldn't see all of it due to work and just other commitments. But seen the bits and pieces even for the game today, and then obviously the highlights. Yeah, just I don't even know what to say. Just like a bit of a weird one. But again, the result at the end of it is all that matters. England has been in not the best of forms, but yeah, I think. It's positive. It's weird, man, because we want this team in the World Cup. We want to see this embarrassment, if you want, in the World Cup. I don't want to not make the World Cup and be embarrassed not making it. I'd rather be there and get embarrassed, I guess. But this team is on a bit of a positive moment right now, and the game against England, I think, first off, it's always good to get a win against England. Finally, like you said, breaking a bit of that San Siro curse for the Italian national team. So, I mean, the man of the moment right now, I know we'll get into it a bit more, but Raspadori, obviously, with the goals that he's been able to provide in this window, Raspa Gold, they're calling him. So he's been able to step up with some usual suspects not in the lineup. So I think obviously positive to get the clean sheet, positive to win at San Siro in front of your own people, and listen, I don't think it was perfect. I still think there's a lot to be done, but just to finally breathe some fresh air after all the shit and all the negative that we've gone through, I think is something to be look forward to, and I guess to be somewhat happy about, even though down deep we're all pissed that this team is not going to be in Qatar in a couple months.
Yeah, and we obviously know, and we talked about it so many times. The reason why they didn't qualify was reliance on players that won the Euros, and that really hurt them in the games, in the qualifying games in the fall, and then obviously the one in March. But then obviously different mentality. I think this time around, I think Mancini really, obviously he has to make the change. You can't rely on those guys anymore. Obviously, there are guys that are still left over from the team. They won a year and a bit ago. Of course, there's still going to be players. Some players are a bit surprising, like a Cherby, even Toloi. I was a bit surprised to see Toloi start. You know what? Give him credit because he actually had a pretty good game. Even a Cherby in the 2 games, he looked good. He looked good. So there's a reason why they started. And But I think the attack was definitely the focus. I mean, Mancini had to do it, right? No Insigne, no Immobile, like no Chiesa. Your front three, your starting three from the Euros, even no Berardi, they're all gone. No Bernardeschi. Everybody's gone pretty much. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Everybody's already gone from the team. Some permanently, some not permanently. Obviously, we're gonna see Immobile and Berardi back. I don't know about Insigne. Definitely not Bernardeschi. Chiesa obviously is going to come back at some point. But completely different attack. Who they started with? I'm drawing blanks there, so you have to help me out, or Google's going to help me out here. Italy versus England. I know they started with Raspadori, obviously.
Scamacca, Raspadori Scamacca was the top two, the front two.
Yeah. There was he changed to 3-5-2
formation. Yeah,
he changed formation. That was another big thing, and I think they really helped out too because three of the back looked good with Toloi and Acerbi and obviously Bonucci. And the two players that surprised me over these two games that I think were fantastic was Di Lorenzo and Di Marco, the two wing backs, especially Di Marco. Obviously, we know what Di Lorenzo brings. He's not flashy. You know, he gets the job done. He's a solid wing back. Obviously, he makes mistakes sometimes, like he did in the Euro final, but he's a solid player. He's a player you want to have. It's simple as that. Yeah. But Di Marco, honestly, he's look good. And I know he doesn't play too much for Inter. And Inter fans, I know a lot of them on Twitter were talking about him. His passing was really good. He got rewarded with the goal today. That left wing back spot was definitely something that Italy's been lacking the past few years, obvious, besides Spinazzola, right?
Yeah.
When Spinazzola went down, it's like, who's there? And he looked good, honestly, DiMarco.
He did. And I remember saying it in episodes past, other Azzurri special that we kind of had. I remember he was always a name that kind of floated around in my mind. Someone besides Spinazzola, because obviously we hold Spinazzola to such a high level, rightfully so. He was one of, if not the best player for Italy at the Euros before he went down. So he definitely deserves his praise. But when he was on the lineup, like you said, Nick, we turned to Emerson Palmieri. Again, for me, he's more of a guy off the bench, maybe to kind of the last 15, 20 minutes of a game, even the last half hour, if you will. He's not a guy, in my personal opinion, that you can trust, game in, game out. Again, did his job, didn't do it to obviously the standard of Spinazzola, but we would have been crazy enough to even put him to that standard. So for me, Di Marco, again, has had some shocking and woeful performances for Inter. Don't get me wrong. I know the Inter fans have had a lot to say about him. Personally, sometimes I don't find he's utilized in the position that he's comfortable in for Inter. I'm not going to make excuses for his bad performances. Inter fans know better than I do and better than both of us what their players can do and what they can deliver. So I'm not saying that, but on that left flank for Di Marco, definitely looked good. Like you said, got rewarded with the goal today. Just making those passes, actually being able to put in a somewhat of a decent ball into the area. We have a guy like Scamacca that got ever so close for putting in an early goal against England, where he jumped over, I think it was Maguire, if I'm not mistaken. So listen, we have a guy that can get on to a lot of balls in the area when he's on in Scamacca. So a guy like Di Marco on that left flank, if Mancini sticks with this 4-3-3, if Italy sticks with this 3-5-2, I'm sorry, going forward, it's something definitely to look into. But like you said earlier, I think the change of formation was something that we said it, right? Like we said it in the past. Many fans have probably been calling for it. Is this the formation that's right for this team with the players at hand at the moment? That's up for debate, I think. Some players I don't think fit, and obviously we don't have all our players either healthy or called up. So when that would be, I would like to see how this team plays. But you know what? Listen, Nick, I like the two up top. If it's Raspadori, Scamacca, I also like Gnonto. He's a guy that brings something different, even though he's 5'0". He brings something in that attack, which, in my opinion, it was pretty clear. He's the one that, on the goal today for Raspadori, he's the one that kind of caused a bit of mayhem, even though, Hungary kind of, shot themselves in the foot with that mistake in the back. But, if it's not Gnonto getting there before the keeper, that ball doesn't spill out, Raspadori doesn't get on the end of it, maybe this game is a different game. I don't know. So, I don't know. I like the two up top. I think we said it in the past, even in club play, kind of those two different attackers that bring, two different elements to the game on the pitch. Unfortunately, I think today it was more of the same. I think Raspadori and Gnonto kind of, I don't want to say like for like, but pretty similar in characteristics, in style of play, both on the shorter end of in terms of height for an attacker. When you bring a guy like Scamacca in, or maybe an Immobile, he brings some height, brings some physicality. I think they can complement well each other. And you know what, Nick, I know we haven't seen Chiesa in a long time. It's unfortunate he's still dealing with his injury, but a guy like even Chiesa or Zaniolo, I can see playing up top like that in that two-man attack. So I think we got options going forward in the future for the attack. And if the defense, personally, I don't know, Toloya, like you said earlier, I was a bit shocked about, but I don't know. For me, we need some new blood, and some new continuous new blood and new faces in the back, because these guys aren't getting any younger. So once we see everybody healthy, I think we can gauge and criticize and comment a bit better about what we're seeing on the pitch for the Azzurri.
So out of the lineups for the two games versus England and Hungary, it was a bit surprised me because there's only one change for today's game. It was Gnonto coming in for Scamacca. Personally, I did like that a bit more. Italy, in the past 10 years, there's been a problem with number 9, with the typical striker, and I think it's just better to go for two players who are more dynamic. At least Raspadori, I think right now he's gonna be the guy moving forward. Yeah. He's gonna be the guy. I know it's 2 games, but look, he scored 2 goals. I think he's already at 3 goals with the national team. Let me look. I looked this up the other day. Obviously, not like he's scoring like a ridiculous rate or anything, but he's only 22. He's already won the Euros, so he has that experience. He made his move to Napoli, so he's had 4 goals. He's had 4 goals already, 5 goals. 5 goals already for the national team in 15 games, which is pretty remarkable. He scored against Lithuania, and then Turkey in that friendly after they missed out in the World Cup. Scored 2 goals in that game, and then obviously England and Hungary. So he's gotten all his goals pretty much in the past year and change. And as I mentioned, he was on the Euro team. He got at least, even though he didn't play that much, right? He at least got the experience of just being there. And so I think he's going to be the guy. Who's going to be next to him? Is it going to be Gnonto? Is it going to be Scamacca? Is it even going to be Immobile maybe for a bit? Maybe it's Chiesa. We'll see. I think he's really, right now, he's going to be that guy for the attack. Can't go back to the 4-3-3 at this point. It obviously it worked for the Euros, but it didn't work after that. I do like the 3-5-2, even in Conte's days. For Italy, I think that's the best solution. But I was a bit surprised. Only one change, as I mentioned. What did you think of that lineup? And also, did you think it was kind of Mancini saying, okay, you know what, we're a bit serious about this game. We do want to win. And we don't, we're not here to experiment.
Well, I think, I think that there is still some experimentation. Is that the word we used to use with Gianni? Experimentation. I still think there was a bit of that, or there is still a bit of that, and there has to be some more of that, with this national team, because, we're ways away from where we need to be and where we want to be as a nation. So, surprised about the changes or the lack thereof, in today's game a bit. Yes, I will say. But again, I think after the England game and how that game went out, and that you picked up the win, now there's like something to kind of play for today. Again, guys, we know it's Nations League. This is not, World Cup semifinals going to the finals. It's not that. It's not a Euro final. It's none of any of that. But again, we need to restart again. So this is going to be, what we're going to have to do. So yeah, I don't know. I would like to see some other faces in the midfield and in the defense, but again, they seem to be a bit serious in this window. Some of the guys that are in that lineup, the Jorginhos, the Cristantes of the world, are still somewhat trusted by Mancini. So again, what are you gonna? You can't really, I guess, go against that. Would I like to see a Pobega? Sure. Would I like to see, a Bastoni or somebody else? Absolutely. Again, like I said earlier, we don't have all our guys either fit, healthy, or called up. So we can't harp on these selections too much. It's only 2 games and it's only the Nations League. But again, I still think it's something important and it steps in the right direction. Even though, like for example, Mazzocchi, he was the man of the moment when he was on the mic singing, right, for his initiation song for the Italian national team. He gets his first call up. He becomes the 51st. I think I had seen before coming on here the 51st different player to debut under Mancini. It says a lot. We harp on Mancini a lot for his a bit of his stubbornness in his past year and a bit. But again, if we do remember when he first became in charge, he really experimented different players. He really called up a lot of different players, young players. He really introduced some players that we hadn't seen on the national team obviously yet. So even though there's been some bad and there's been some spotty decision making from Mancini, I think he's also brought in some positives as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy with the wins. The clean sheets I think are important. I think Gigio, even though him too, his play is not perfect, he still needs to brush up on some things. I was able to catch a bit of the game today, and there was a free kick that I think was Zabozlai there that put it into the box, and again, Donnarumma, classic Donnarumma in no man's land in the box. It doesn't doesn't react or doesn't stick onto what his initial reaction is. Like, you kind of second guess. Those are dangerous chances that can end into the back of the net. But to bring it all back to your initial question, I think not really surprised by the changes, but again, happy that they're taking it seriously.
If you were to give out of the 2 games, if you were to give MVPs, I know we normally do this weekly with City App. If you were to give one MVP, this is a bit tough because if you were to give one MVP, who would you give? Because there was a few players, DiMarco, as I mentioned, DiMarco, Di Lorenzo, Raspadori, and Donnarumma. I think are the 4 that really stood out. If I'm gonna give an MVP, I'm gonna go. I think Raspadori is an easy choice because he has the 2 goals. But honestly, Donnarumma, he made some good saves against England, and then today was fantastic. He made so many saves, like pulled saves out of his hat. Like, I know he really does have the advantage of he's just so large, right? I don't know his size, but he's so big, so he just throws any body part at the net, and there's a good chance it can hit him. And he was fantastic. Obviously, his positioning sometimes, as you mentioned, is not the best, but he's Italy's #1 goalie, and he's going to be, I don't know, he's 23 now?
He's a 99, yeah.
He's a 99, so he's 23. Yeah. So at least another 10, 15 years, he's going to be Italy's #1 goalie. And it's crazy to think that we did this with Buffon, and now we're going to do this with Donnarumma. It's just one goalie for the next 10, 15 years. And all young goalies coming up, they're not going to have much of a chance. Obviously, it sucks for Donnarumma because if Italy qualifies 2026, he's going to be 27. He could be playing his first World Cup at 27. Like, how many World Cups can he get in? Maybe 2, 3 max. When he could be playing like 5. He could have been playing like 5, but again, he wouldn't have played in 2018. Let's put it that way. Buffon would have still been there, but still. I would go Donnarumma MVP.
Yeah, I listen. It's hard, man. Like I said earlier, the man of the moment definitely is Raspadori. I think he's he's really taken a step forward. I think this is a guy that we were kind of shaking our heads a bit, before the Euros, and when that official call up was happened for the Euros, and we saw Raspadori's name, we were a bit like, okay, well, it's interesting that Mancini's bringing Raspadori. Clearly, he saw something that we didn't, maybe at that time. Again, like you said earlier, didn't get all the playing time that in the Euros that he probably would have liked. But again, the experience, like you said, and just being able to kind of live out a tournament on the biggest of stages against the biggest of opponents is always something positive. And I think also his now, because his start of the season has been ridiculous. I think he scored what, like all comps, like club and country. He scored what in his past 5-6 games. I think the only game he didn't score was against Milan in the past. What was that, five? I think it was 5 games. He scored against Spezia, Rangers, today, the game against England. And there was another game in there that I'm probably missing. Napoli fans can definitely say, but I think just his move to Napoli has proven dividends already. It's still early for sure, but I'm going to go. Long story short, I'm going to Raspadori. I know it's the homer pick. I know it's the easy one, but for me, we've criticized, we've butchered, we've complained, we've ranted about our number 9, we've ranted about our attack, even though I still think we have the players and some capable guys that can do this job. um Raspadori, even if it's a small sample size for now, he's proven that he deserves a spot in the attack. And again, personally, I like I'm a fan of Scamacca, so I'm always gonna probably keep him in there. He's so young. He's just made his move to England as well in the Premier League, so he's getting a new lookout in the cultural world. So I don't know. For me, Raspadori definitely deserves MVP for all the factors that I named. And again, wearing the number, I know it's not his number, but wearing the number 10 shirt for Italy, for me, again, is always something that's carries a lot of importance. We saw, what Pellegrini was able to do with that number not too long ago. So it's a breath of fresh air. I think this clean air that us Azzurri fans are breathing right now is long overdue. And when you're breathing clean air, you see better, you think better, everything is better. So with Raspadori up front, it's been a positive. So he's definitely my MVP.
The midfield, I think it was. I don't think mentioned much of a choice, but
Yeah,
Cristante, Jorginho, and Barella started both games in midfield. 3 guys who were on the Euro team. I know Jorginho. He's not obviously the guy of the future at this point. We know that. Like, he's got 1 or 2 more years left with the national team. He's really declined hard after the Euros, which whatever is fine. He was great during the Euros, but he's really declined. In Barella too. I think last year he was just super tired from all the games he played. He didn't look the best last year. He looked good in these 2 games. Maybe not the Barella of old, I would say. But honestly, he looked good. But I think the player that surprised me the most in the midfield out of those 3 was definitely Cristante. Like, especially today against Hungary, he was fantastic. He made the nice pass to DiMarco on the second goal. He got up a lot. He looked good. I know a lot of Roma fans are, they're up and down with him.
yeah,
He's not a star player. Like, he's a good
no,
player. He's a Serie A player. I don't know. I guess he's a national team player too. But it's just funny to see. Like, he's just one of those players everyone's just gonna meme about and stuff. But if apparently, like Chris DeSantis said, his natural position is player higher up the pitch. I guess he's right. I don't know. I don't watch Roma enough to argue with that. But if he's going to play higher up the pitch, good. But I mean, his teammate Pellegrini's, once he's healthy and plays for the national team, that's going to be his role. If anything, Cristante is just going to be a good sub player, rotation player, but we'll see.
I agree. No, I think and again, it's somebody that, for as long as Mancini is the coach, is somebody that Cristante is somebody that he trusts. Clearly, he called them up for the Euros. He was part of that team. He won the tournament with Italy. He's now still getting called up. He's now playing. Obviously, okay, maybe hands are tied. There's injuries. Not everybody's there. Tonali, Pellegrini, like you said, which are guys that I think are steps and leaps and bounds ahead of Cristante. But again, listen, sometimes you need those types of players, a la Cristante, in your team to kind of break up play and kind of either get forward, kind of do a bit of the dirty work as well in the midfield. So personally, I guess again, I'm not a huge fan of him, but but if he's on the team and if he does good for Italy, I'm all behind that. So yeah, again, like you said, Nick, I think there wasn't really much of a choice. I think again, I would have liked to see Pobega maybe a bit more minutes, but for me, it's the result at the end that matters the most, and we were able to get both of them in both these games.
The Nations League. So they go back to the semifinals for a second year in a row. Obviously, we know what happened last time. They lost in the semifinal against Spain. That was in Italy. So they hosted the last semifinals and finals. Won't be the case now. It's not official, but it's likely going to be the Netherlands to host the semifinals and finals in June, most likely June 14th and June 18th. The draw for it, there's no specific date for the draw that I'm seeing here, but Croatia, Italy, Netherlands have qualified so far. And then tomorrow, Portugal and Spain play each other in the same situation today where Spain has to win to advance to win the group. And if Portugal gets even a point, it's good enough for them to win the group. So Portugal, they won in 2019, and Spain they lost in last year. So two teams who've already been in that position before. Croatia, they're going to be their first time in these finals, and then Netherlands, they also lost in the final in 2019. What do you expect to see? Obviously, we don't know Italy's opponent in the semifinals. This is still a long way away. But what do you want to see from this team come next June? Obviously, trophy is on the line. A lot of people are talking about glorified friendly, sure, whatever, say what you want. But when there's stats and standings and keeping track of all this, like you're playing for something. Even if it's just pride, honestly, you're playing for something. And so, especially now that Italy didn't play in the World Cup, like they're going to want to go out in Hungary because they're playing three teams who will have played in the World Cup. Who knows how far each of those teams are going to go?
Yeah,
but this is Italy's only chance at a trophy this season, pretty much. So I don't know. What do you expect of these out of this?
Well, listen, I just continuous progression and continuous growth with his group, and if it happens to be some more new players along the way, I don't see it right now. Maybe, and again, first off is to get healthy. I think we need to be healthy. We need to have the players that we want to see, that we know that should be in these lineups and called up to the team. So I still think that connection, that brotherhood is still there, maybe on a lesser level than it was obviously a year ago. But listen, I think every kid's dream is to put on that blue shirt. So there's obviously a lot of pride involved after you missed the World Cup twice. In as many competitions, it's obviously embarrassing. This team has had to start from ground zero. Now this is going on the second time. So I just hope for, and I just expect continuous growth. If that's sticking with this formation, if that's trying something else new, and if that's rotating players, if that's bringing in new blood, whatever it is, it has to happen. We can't go backwards. We can only go forward, in my opinion. And again, that starts with Mancini. Starts with Mancini in terms of what he wants to do, his tactics, his formation, his him being able to keep this group a group, because Nick, as much as we want to rant and rave and say how great Italy was a year ago, it really was the group, the collective that brought this team over the top. I don't think, yes, we have some individual stars, but again, even them on their own, I don't think could have done at all. So for me, it's the group. It starts within the locker room, within these guys. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just first again, who we're gonna face, who we're not gonna face. For me, it doesn't matter. This team needs to rebound and needs to continue on this positive path. So I don't know. Just like I said, more progression forward in the right direction. I'm hoping to see, like I said earlier, our guys healthy. We haven't seen Chiesa on the pitch, like I said earlier. I would like to see Zaniolo. Pellegrini excites me as well. Tonali. The defense, obviously, I think definitely needs, some younger blood. Obviously, like I said earlier, and if it sticks to this 3-5-2, and if it's going to be Di Marco and Di Lorenzo and Di Marco, or Di Lorenzo and Spinazzola, or whoever it may be, I hope, because at first when I saw that, I wasn't sure how the wing backs would play out. Again, small sample size, 2 games, Nations League. England's been terrible. Hungary was on a bit of a hot streak. So again, take it with a grain of salt and take it for what you will. But they held their own, which I was content about, because when you go from not playing that role for Di Lorenzo, even though I'm a big fan of Di Lorenzo, being in the 4-back to go into a 3-back and having to do all that extra running on that flank, it's a tall task for somebody that doesn't do it week in, week out. So it's for me, chapeau to Di Lorenzo, and obviously Di Marco, who plays in a 3-back formation, so he's a bit more used to it. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to see more unity and more steps in the right direction. That's the short answer for the short answer for all that.
I just want to see them win, just for the memes, honestly.
Yeah,
just give us that trophy. Come on. Just give us that trophy. Mares, a couple comments here. Mancini has done a great job. I think overall, bigger picture, yes. Bigger picture, yes.
Individual 100%. Moments,
especially where he came from. 2018. 2018 was a lower point, I think, obviously, than now. 100%. Just because there was no organization in Italian soccer in the team itself.
The whole federation was upside down.
Everything was a mess.
Yeah.
This time it was like, okay, we screwed up some games. Okay. But that's where the question was. We don't want to talk about it too much, but they messed up a couple of games, and that's what cost them.
This team should be in the World Cup, guys.
They should be.
This team should be in the World Cup.
The 2018 team, they didn't deserve to be there. They were awful. They were awful. You look at some of the names, especially with Conte. Remember the Euro? Some of the players there, Pelé, Eder, Giaccherini. Come on.
Thiago Motta, right? Was he there?
No, Thiago Motta was number 10. Prolo was on that team. They were so bad.
Scudaro, fuck, man. Terrible.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were. It's not as dire now, but whatever. We actually did get a question on Instagram about that from Fabrizio from Genoa Club Toronto. Italian squad finalmente reborn once again, or is there still some work to be done? No, there's work to be done.
Absolutely.
I think obviously Italy took advantage of Germany and England. They were using these games just kind of as warm up for the World Cup. They weren't focused on any winning or anything. For Italy, it was, and obviously it was the case too for Hungary. But obviously Italy's just a better team than Hungary. So there needs to be work done. How do we measure that? Euro qualifying.
Listen, it starts even here right now. Like you said, just fucking win the damn thing, right? Like it even starts here. I think any experience where you can gain ground, where you can gain progress, and you can kind of be in a positive headspace, I think is important. With this Nations League, like you said, glorified friendlies, I don't agree anymore because back in the day, those international friendlies were really just fucking terrible. Now there's actually a bit of a meaning to play these damn games, so it's a bit more of exciting. And again, that pride, us Italians, we're very proud, and we wear our hearts on our sleeves. So yeah, of course we want to win. And is there work to be done, Fabri? Absolutely. There's a lot of work to be done. We're ways away from getting to where we want to be and where we need to be as a federation, as a nation, as a team in these tournaments. So, at first after the second disappointment, because like Fabrizio said, it's another rebirth with this fucking team. But we were calling obviously for Mancini's head. We were like, get this guy out of here. This guy can't be here. Listen, he's dealt with the punches pretty well so far. He obviously knows his team. He knows what's going on, even though they did screw up again. But it's what we have right now. This team needs to continue to grow with the youth. I think has been a plus for us. We've seen some stars emerge. We were talking about Raspadori before. We're seeing Nyonto getting some minutes. That, guys, if we would decide we knew this guy's name a year ago, or not even 6 months ago, whatever it was, now we would be lying to you. So this new blood, a bit of mixed in with this old, and again, I'm going to use that same saying once again. That passing of the torch from this kind of older guard to this newer generation of Italian players, I think, is important too. So a lot of work to be done for sure, and it's one step at a time.
Another question that we got from Calcio Talk: who is a player you want to see more often with the Azzurri?
That's a good question.
I'm gonna not right now, but I'm gonna say Fabio Brianti. Not right now. I'm talking about the future though, because he's a player I think has a lot of promise. Watching him with Juve this season, I think he has a lot of promise, and he's a really creative midfielder. And so I want him to improve with Juve, have a regular starting role with Juve, and improve. And then from there, work on the national team. I don't think
he's how old?
The national,
he's how old? I forget.
20, I think.
He's still young. He's
still young. I don't think you use the national team to improve as a player. You need to earn your spot on a national team. You don't play young players on the national team just because they're whatever. Obviously, you want to give. There are times you want to give younger players. Do you still feel like my sound cut out? Do you still hear me well?
Absolutely, yeah, okay. I hear you.
Yeah. Obviously there are times you want to give young players some minutes, maybe like today, these past few games where we saw some younger players come on as subs. For example, Paul Bega today, even Fatezi against England. But I think in the future, that's one player I'm going to want to see. Maybe come March when they start the Euro qualifying. Depending who they play. If not, maybe next season. Yeah.
Yeah, for me again, still very young. He's listen. I think he has all the tools to earn his stripes. I do believe that. If it's still at Juve or elsewhere, I don't know. Because we all know the Juve situation at the moment, and I would hate to see his development get hindered by the situation that he's in, because I think the talent is there, and the promise is there, but. Again, in that midfield, we've said it time and time again on this show. You see all over social media, anybody that covers Calcio or the Italian national team in any stretch has said it, has continued to be advocates about it. We have so many players in the midfield already, with the usual suspects that we've seen. Obviously the Barellas, the Jorginhos, if he sticks around. Obviously now with Tonali, Locatelli, Pellegrini that I really do like. There's just Verratti. We seem to forget about Verratti, right? When he's on and when he's healthy, he's on another level. So just the list goes on, and I think like you said, Pobega, Fratesi, which were two players I do like as well. So I would love to see Miretti get in there. I think get some more experience. I think with the U20 continue to be, since it's so always seems to be in attack, it's going to be Nyonto. I want to see more of Nyonto. We've gotten very small sample sizes of Dudu. He just now, if I'm not mistaken, in the Swiss, he was able to get his experience, abroad, outside of Italy, which, I hate to see that we can't just do that in our own country. But again, so be it. He's getting now this new experience in England, which in the Premier League, or just in England in general, is always something, good. So I would like to see Nyonto. He's, like I said, young, has a bit of a taste on his palate. He's had a bit of an antipasto with the Italian national team, right? He's had these small little nibbles, right? He had the prosciutto Malone, he had the bocconcini, the bruschetta, whatever he had. He had it a bit in a small sample size. So continue stuffing yourself with the prosciutto Malone, and then slowly, you'll get the first course, the second course, and so on and so forth. So I know we always turn this fucking show into the Cucina guys. I'm sorry, I don't know how that happens. It just does. But I think for me, Nyonto, to answer Calcio Talk's question, Nyonto is somebody that I want to see, and not even as a starter, right? Somebody just to gain that experience, gain those couple of minutes here and there. Basically, what Raspadori did at the Euros, like we just earlier mentioned, maybe something similar to that, because we do have players in the attack once everybody's back. We continue to stick with Immobile, which is fine. Scamacca, Raspadori, Chiesa when he comes back, Zaniolo, which I think can still bring something, obviously. If we're going to see Insigne again, I don't know, but these players are there, and then Nyonto, I think, definitely deserves again some other call-ups and some other experiences with the Italian national team. Maras with a question there, I think I saw. No?
Yeah. Maras wrote, looking at 2018 and before looking only into one aspect, the creativity of midfielders, how do you evaluate the team and Mancini? Obviously,
in terms of the midfield, sorry? Put up the
yeah,
question. I couldn't see it. Again, put up the question.
Do you see it now?
Yes, I do. My question.
You're able to see it?
Yeah. Okay.
Before we answer that question, I wanted to ask you, Adrian, do you remember the three starting midfielders for the Italy game against Sweden, again in Italy, at the San Siro? It was a 3-5-2, so they had three midfielders.
God. You're putting me on the spot, man. That was such a rage. That was such a break everything, smash everything type of mood and moment. I want to say Thiago Motta was in there, but I don't know for sure. He wasn't in there. Sturaro?
No.
I'm way off. Tell me.
Okay, it was Jorginho, good.
At the time,
Barolo,
yes.
okay. At the time, he was okay.
Yeah.
And the third midfielder was Alessandro Florenzi. We had
you're right.
a guy who wasn't even a regular midfielder as a midfielder. That's how bad it was. So to answer your question, Mara, yeah, it's gotten better. De Rossi, he asked De Rossi. De Rossi did start in the game against in the first game against Sweden. I think it was actually their goal actually deflected off of him, if I remember correctly. So an aging player. Obviously, he was very good. I think out of those three, even De Rossi then was probably the best player. Honestly, out of that midfield, but. Yeah, since then, definitely gotten a lot better. It's just younger players. Sometimes with national team, that's the issue too, right? You're just relying on players being born, right? And
the
being
generation,
Italian.
the generation.
There's so many things you can't even control. Obviously, you want to have good development and stuff, but at the end of the day, it comes down to who's available at that time, who's good at that age. Obviously, like you look at a team like Belgium. Obviously they've always been a good soccer nation, but 20 years ago they weren't as good as they are now. That's just because they have so many good players at the same time. Is it still going to be the same in maybe 5-10 years? We don't know. So with Italy, I think with the midfield, it's going to get at the right time. Obviously Barella, he's one of them. We saw they had a really good midfield at the Euros, right? Jorginho, Barella, Verratti, Locatelli, 4 really, really good players. And then obviously they had Cristante coming off the bench, and Pellegrini was hurt. And
Yes.
Pellegrini was hurt too. So I really like their midfield. Obviously, there are some question marks regarding Jorginho, and then Verratti he's a bit injury prone, but he's good when he plays. But no, I trust. Even look at Tonali too. He's next. He's going to be part of the next generation. So I'm happy with the midfield. Honestly,
listen, I think it's one of our strengths, obviously, right? But besides Gigio between the sticks, and even if you look at his backups, Meret, and if it's going to be Provedel or Vicario or Cranio, whoever it is, after that is we're in sure hands between the sticks. But in terms of the midfield, I think we've said it for a long time now. It's one of our strengths. It's one of our places, areas on the pitch that we have many guys that can come in and hopefully gel well with the team and be able to produce. Like, did we know Locatelli was going to do what he did at the Euros? Maybe not. But again, he was able to open a lot of eyes. We had that set in mind. Oh my God, Verratti's not going to be there again, which this guy's always fucking injury prone. But Locatelli was able to step up. Tonali made a huge jump in his progression, and he's touted as and regarded as one of the better midfielders in Serie A now. Year one at Milan, it wasn't the case. Looking back at last year and going into this year, he's an integral part of that team in Milan. So obviously Fratesi, which I do like as well. Locatelli, like I mentioned, Pellegrini, like this guy's amazing. Like I'm a big fan. So I think again, to answer Mars' question and just tag it along to what Nick is saying, it's leaps and bounds, ahead of where we were in 2018. Like, and it's not even like over exaggeration. Like we're such in a better place in that department, in my opinion. Where we can look forward, like where we can maybe say is the three departments: defense, midfield, and attack. It's maybe a bit of a coin toss between the defense and maybe the attack that needs maybe the most attention. But when we speak about midfield, for right now and into the future, I personally think, unless everything just hits the fan, like we're in good hands and we're in good condition there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about, Adri. It's almost an hour we've been doing this. I don't know if there's any Azzurri points you want to make.
Well, not really. I mean, I just, again, continue to take this seriously. Continue to get healthy. I don't know, like the 3-5-2 is it? I know we spoke a bit about earlier. Is it the formation that you would continue with going forward, or is there another variation? Could we still go back with a 4-back and just not happen to be the 4-3-3, maybe a 4-2-3-1, or some other type of formation with 4 at the back? Like, is 3 the way forward? Because we all know the 3 at the back that we were used to regarded at such a high level, like the BBC, Buffon in between the sticks. But again, it carries a lot of risk, because then injuries can pile up. So where do you like, is the 3-5-2 or any sub of that variation the way forward in your eyes?
I think so, just because our wing backs and wingers not the best. It's not. We don't have the most depth. We talked about it. I know once Chiesa comes back, it'll definitely help. Where does he fit in this formation?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't mind seeing him as a wing back, honestly.
No.
A lot of people, but more of an attacking one, because that's kind of what he did under Pirlo in his first season at Juve. You play him in a 3-5-2 or like a 4-3-2, whichever way you want to look at it, and you just let him attack. He doesn't. Don't make him play defense. Just put him there and just let him attack. He's more of a midfielder at that point. Maybe you put him on one side and then more of a traditional fullback, like maybe DiMarco or Di Lorenzo or even Spinazzola, let's say, on the other side. So I think it's 3-5-2, because then if you go 4-3-3, you're gonna have to find 2 fullbacks and two wingers. Who do they have? Who do they have? You know,
I think they have. I don't think maybe in the four. I don't maybe not in the 4-3-3 if you don't want to play that, and it kind of brings a couple of bad memories along the way there at the end here. But I don't know. Like I still think Chiesa, for me, Chiesa has to be playing more forward. Like I can't like I don't mind the 3-5-2, but now where do these players fit? Like I need to see Chiesa forward. He's an attacker. He's able to create. He's one of the few Italian national team players that takes on his man. That goes for those runs. That takes on his man, 1-on-1, and able to beat somebody on the dribble. We saw it. We've seen it. And again, is he going to be that same player once he comes back from injury? We hope. We pray. But I don't know. I still think in terms of wing play, because for me, Chiesa, Spadori, Zaniolo, these are guys that are all flexible in the attack. They can play, more of an attacker, more of a winger, more of a, if you want to say, a number 10, if you will, the trequartista type of role, maybe a second striker, if you will. In my eyes, at least, that's how I see these players being able to carry that load in terms of that. Can Scamacca do that? No, he's more that number 9. Can Immobile do that? No, he's more that number 9. But if we go 3 at the back, for me also, it's who's our 3 at the back. Because I don't want to continue seeing, and again, no knock to these players, but Toloi, Acerbi, Bonucci, as much as it pains me to say, will probably should be in there over those other 2. I don't know if you agree, but I don't know who would be that back 3 also. Like, would it be Bastoni, Bonucci, Mancini? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
where that would go.
Because if you're gonna have 3 center backs, you got to have Bonucci there. You got to have Bonucci there, and then who else?
Well, but Bastoni
and Mancini, I don't trust them fully just yet. Obviously, I
trust Bastoni more than I trust. Mancini.
More than a Acerbi and a Toloi, 100%. I think you just gotta take it like international break by international break and see who has a hot hand. Like Mancini's, he's just a hothead, right? And Bastoni, he's definitely good. He's a definitely good young prospect,
and he plays in a 3-back formation.
He does,
right? So
that's true. So there's just times where he looks a bit questionable. Even today, like he could have given up a penalty. So whatever. Yeah, for sure. Moving forward, I'd take them over Acerbi and Bastoni. But if you're gonna have 3 in the back, you still gotta stick with Bonucci for now. And then last question again from Mares. Is there's a chance we play Spain or Portugal for championship? They're expert in ruining our midfield movements, but Italy plays better now. Any prediction about that game? I think it's hard to say because there's still a chance. You got to play either, Spain or Portugal. Winner of that game is going to go to the Nations League semifinals. And then there's still Croatia and Netherlands. We could play any of those teams. And it's all the way in June. So hard to predict. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be new young players coming up possibly by then. It's
players coming back from injury.
Coming back from injury like Chiesa. Yeah. So we'll talk in June. Maris. Hopefully we'll do it live and you're able to come back. So that's my prediction for now.
That's your prediction? Yeah, listen, Maris, I think prediction. Listen, those are tough teams. I think obviously Portugal recently obviously looks scary. The prospects that they've been pumping out as of late, and guys really taking their game to another level is absurd. Post Ronaldo here, but we saw what Spain was able to do last year in the Euros to us, and even in last year in the Nations League as well. So you can't count any of these teams out, right? They're there for a reason. So prediction, I still think we can go toe to toe with these types of teams, but it's like we said earlier to Fabrizio's question. There's still a lot of work to be done, and there's still a lot of things to iron out and to improve to get to where we want to be. So definitely for a prediction, something positive, hopefully. But again, like Nick said, we'll probably have to talk about that closer to June of next year. So So yeah.
So I think that'll do it for us. Thanks, Mares, for those great questions during our YouTube live. Obviously, if you're
Yes, thank you
listening
so
to
much.
this, the recorded version
On the replay.
on Spreaker, Adrian will tell you where to find us on social media because that's his role here.
The one role I have is to continue to talk a lot more and to promote the show a bit, guys. But again, like Nick said, I know this was a very absolutely no problem answering the questions. If you're in the chat, we're answering the questions. That's a no brainer. But again, thank you, Maris, for joining us. And again, this was very last minute and very last option to come on to this live. So we would like obviously in the future for more interaction, but again, we'll take for what it is. But like Nick said, a big thank you just for sticking with us for this episode. We're on YouTube right now. If you're listening to this in the replay or on the audio version, subscribe to our YouTube at the Calcio Guys and follow us on social media on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter are obviously our main platforms. Catch us on Facebook as well if you're still on Facebook. But yeah, and just continue to subscribe. For our audio podcasts. All your favorite podcasting platforms, continue to share, like, subscribe, whatever it is, guys, do it. We can't thank you guys all enough for the continuous support for us to go 4 years strong, ups and downs, radio show, podcast, whatever the platform was. We've continued to do it 160 episodes deep right now, and on route to 200. That seems to be the goal, the next milestone. So continue to stick with us. Bit of a different episode, obviously this week for the international break, guys. If you follow Canada, they play tomorrow, like Nick said, against Uruguay. We hope for the best for them. And again, it's a big thanks to everybody, and we'll catch you guys all next week for a lot more culture.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao. Bye.